Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to Sacred Health. I'm Carolyn, and I'm so excited because this is my first interview of season two. And I've been waiting and waiting, and I'm like, I've been planning for a while, so I'm glad I'm finally actually doing it now and getting things going. So I'd like to introduce you to Lizzie Keu. Lizzie is an angel intuitive, energy healer, and coach. Has been connected to angels since she was a little girl and uses these gifts to share messages from the angelic realm with others. She uses a combination of energy cleansing, meditation, and archangel collaboration to guide clients through their spiritual awakenings. She helps strengthen their connection to the angelic realm, reprogram their subconscious, clear karmic cords, and allows them to feel empowered and protected at all times. And she's also the host of the podcast Illuminate with Lizzie.
Oh,
Hi.
thank you. What an introduction. Hi,
Yeah.
Carolyn. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to get to just hear about this because it fascinated me when I saw your information online. It's like, okay, I need to know. So I guess my
Okay.
first question is, what is an angel intuitive? How would you describe what that means?
Yeah, yeah, that is a good question. So I know there's a bunch of different terms out there that people use for the work that they do, or you may hear the term psychic or mediums. For me, an angel intuitive is someone that's able to communicate with the angelic realm through their intuition, through messages from the angelic realm in particular. And I've always been connected to angels ever since I was a little girl. I've been able to communicate with them. I thought it was quite normal actually until I figured out that not like this was actually not something that everybody just talks about. So as I went to school, and started living that normal life that most people live, I started to forget all the magic that I experienced when I was a kid. And then it wasn't until I had my spiritual awakening in my early 20s when I came back to remembrance of my connection with the angels, that they've always been by my side, and the messages from them just kept getting stronger and stronger. And since then, my psychic gifts have really come online, and it's been a beautiful journey, being able to strengthen my relationship with the angelic realm and with my spirit guides and be able to use this to help others as well. So, an angel intuitive is someone that is able to communicate with angels and share
Mhm.
messages. But yeah, that's just the term I use.
Yeah, no, that's great. And like, how would you differentiate like an angel from like a spirit that's passed away? Because you said psychic and medium, and like that's kind of what comes to mind.
Yeah.
What makes you know that like it's angels? Or would you consider that the same? Like, I don't know. What?
That's also a really good question, and it's interesting because I've been getting this question a lot recently. And what an angel is, when I work with the angels, I'm talking about the angelic realm. In the spirit realm, there's a bunch of different spirits that we can work with, different energy that we can work with. So there's our past loved ones, there's our spirit guides,
Excuse me.
there's ascended masters who some may know as Jesus, Mother Mary, Buddha, Kuan Yin. And then there's the archangels, which is the highest of the angelic realm. It's source energy. So the difference between past loved ones is and angels is past loved ones have can be your guardian angel, can be on your spirit team, but they've taken the form of a human in this
Mhm.
existence. They've been to the 3D realm. They've lived a life, a human life. They've had the human experience. So they're really they feel more grounded. I would say their energy feels a lot more grounded in a sense. Um, and it feels familiar. Whereas, I mean, the angels also feel familiar, but angels in particular, specifically the archangels, they actually haven't ever had an earthly experience. They're just from pure source love and light.
Mhm.
So their main mission is to just help guide us on our earthly journey. So yeah, that would be the main difference. Hopefully that makes sense, but
Yeah, yeah,
feel
that
free
makes
to
sense.
ask more. Okay, yeah. Good.
That's so interesting. And so I guess I'm really curious how this first started as a child, like how you noticed it, I guess. And then like, how did you explain that to your parents?
Ooh.
Because I could see like, at least around me, I don't really have like spiritual gifts per se, but you know, you hear typically like parents, if their kids have imaginary friends or like see ghosts, and parents kind of dismiss that, like that's not real. At
Yeah.
least that's common how I grew up, like stuff like that wasn't taken seriously. So like, was that your experience when you tried voicing these gifts to
Mhm.
your so your family and friends?
I actually never voiced it directly to my parents. I
Okay.
think they knew that I had imaginary friends and stuff, but they were like, oh, she's just a kid. She's just doing her thing, living in her own world. I was really in my own little world, and there was also a lot that I experienced as a kid that was actually quite scary because I didn't know what was going on. When I was talking to my angels and stuff and they were hanging out with me, that would feel really good. But when you are super sensitive as a kid, which most children are, you're also opening up yourself to just the spirit world in general. And there's so many different energies in the spiritual realm.
Mhm.
So I remember at night, I would be terrified sometimes. I would have extreme sleep paralysis. I would see just energies walking by. And
Mhm.
as a kid, I didn't really know what to make of it. I just knew that all of it was really intense.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was overwhelming. And if I ever had a really bad dream that actually just felt like so real, like reality.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've ever had sleep paralysis before, but it's a lot. My parents didn't really understand where I was coming from, so it actually wasn't until I went through my health journey to where I really just started to talk about angels like I would just loop it into the conversation with my parents. I
Mhm.
would kind of just allow myself to say whatever I felt like was I like whatever I felt like was best to say at the time and see how they kind of reacted. Because my parents are also, they practice Buddhism, so they believe in a higher power of their own
Mhm.
understanding, that there's karma and energy and everything like that, but not to the depths of how much I have been able to connect with that. Um, which is completely fine. Everybody's on their own journey, but I really had to be patient with and be patient and be careful with how I was slowly unraveling this side of me to them, this part of
Mhm.
me to them, because
Yeah.
it really is a huge part of me. And then when I went through my health journey, I think is when they really understood how much I was able to connect with the angelic realm, because there was basically nothing that was happening in the 3D world that could help me. And
Mhm.
it was really the spiritual realm that was healing me. And I mean, they saw the miracle before their eyes, but it also took some time for them to really wrap their head around it. And I'm sure there's still a part of them that's like, no, like she just got sick and got better
Mhm.
with the help of 3D stuff. So it was a lot of a mixture of everything. I still don't just straight up tell them, oh yeah, I talk to my angels all the time,
Mhm.
but I feel like they know. It's kind of this unspoken thing for them.
Yeah.
And then as far as for my friends, it was actually quite easy for me to be completely honest about speaking to angels and communicating with angels and my intuitive gifts because when I spiritually awakened, I was also living in LA at the time.
Mhm.
There's a huge spiritual community, and thankfully, I also had friends that were spiritually open. So, and also just loved me for who I am. So, yeah, I felt very comfortable just sharing what I was going through with others. So, yeah.
That's good. That's good to hear because it's, I mean, it's vulnerable in any regard to like open up and share something so special, but for it to be not conventional, like in our society, that could feel really scary. And like people won't understand what
Yeah.
you're even talking about at all. And that's nice about social media and just the internet in general, now you have a way to share that gift, and like other people have gifts similar to that and can connect with you or learn about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I agree. And the thing is, I realized that the more that I was able to share this part of me with others, or just share myself in
Mhm.
general with others, it, I felt more at peace. I felt more at home. And for the people that it did resonate with, I was so grateful for, because those connections are meant to be. Like those, you will draw
Mhm.
in the people that are meant to be in your life. Your message will get across to people that it's meant to, and your energy will resonate with who it's meant to as well.
Yeah. That's such a good point. Like in life, that even for myself, learning how to be authentic and like expressive and not feel self-conscious, things like that. Like you said, people will resonate. The people who are meant to connect will be so excited to hear what you have to say and just
Yeah.
accept you. And
Yeah,
people
yeah.
that don't, you just gotta like let them go.
Right. Yeah, and it's easier said than done. It was a process for me
Hmm.
as well. But I took it at my own pace and I took it slowly. And of course, there were times when my ego was really like gripping on. It's like, hey, you're gonna look really weird if you post this, or what are people gonna think of you if you start talking about this? This is really out there. But I knew it was all part of my journey and my path into coming back to union with
Hmm.
my most authentic self. And life is not worth living if you aren't living your truth. So
Yeah.
I I really don't ever want to look back on life and say, wow, I wish I would have just been way more true to myself.
Hmm. Man, that hits me hard because I've I resonate with that a lot, even just like looking back in the past 10 years of my
Hmm.
life and realizing how much I have not like even given myself a chance to like learn about myself or express myself. So,
Yeah, yeah.
man.
There are definitely times when, I wish I would have done things earlier, or I wish I would have done things quicker. But I do think that divine timing plays a part in this. And there's always, yeah, everything always happens for a reason. But because maybe you wish this, you're able to share that part of you with
Mhm.
others, and this can help motivate others as well to just get it going, just get
Yeah,
started. Yeah, yeah.
just take steps.
Hmm.
Because, and it's just, and that's like with the momentum thing of just taking a little step in the direction you want. Like sometimes you just need that little push, and then you can start getting more excited about things and you can keep moving on
Yeah,
that
yeah.
direction. And it's not as scary, once you start.
Yeah, yeah. It isn't as scary once you start, especially because reality is just an illusion as well. Once you continue to move forward in your spiritual journey, you'll start to realize that nothing really matters if you
Mhm.
just stay true to who you are and you have good intention. It doesn't matter if you put yourself out there, and who cares if someone's like, "Oh, that's weird," or "That doesn't make any sense to me." It doesn't matter in the long run.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
really doesn't. And that's like, ego makes it feel like it matters a lot,
Mhm.
or like, material things matter, or, just all the societal things. It
Yeah.
feels so important. And like to an
Yeah.
extent it matters, but like it doesn't.
Yeah,
You
yeah, I
know?
mean, right. And part of that is also really being able to distinguish the ego from the intuition, the soul, your heart, right? So that was also part of it too, is knowing that the ego isn't this terrible thing, but it's good for you to understand where your intentions are coming from, if they're ego driven
Mhm.
or if they're driven from love.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
so how would you do you have any suggestions as to how someone could learn to differentiate an ego thing from an intuition thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I do. Well, first I would say that one of the biggest things is to have to practice mindfulness, because if you aren't mindful about your actions, your thoughts, or even observant of what is going on, then you can't even try to work with your ego and your intuition. You're
Hmm.
going to just think you're just yeah, I would say start with meditation or mindfulness practices, even if it's journaling, being able to kind of quiet that monkey mind and allow whatever comes up to just come up, to observe it, to be aware of what's coming up.
Hmm.
And the more that you practice mindfulness, you'll be able to observe what is really yours and what isn't. And that's also going to help develop your intuition as well. But I would say that the ego, one of the biggest things is the ego is rooted in fear. It's loud, it's noisy, and it doesn't feel good. And the intuition is always from love. It feels gentle. Sometimes it's a nudge. It's a big nudge if you're not
Hmm.
listening, but it usually comes to you in these gut feelings, these intuitive nudges, I would say like whispers of your heart. And the ego will play on your insecurities where the intuition will feel more expansive. It'll feel
Hmm.
exciting, even if it can be scary sometimes. It's like, oh, this feels good though. Almost like I know I want to do this.
Yeah.
The ego is more so like, oh, like if you do this, this will happen and it'll be terrible. So I would say that the ego, when you distinguish it from your intuition, is always going to be that kind of annoying voice in your head, that chatter that just doesn't stir up good emotions in you. The intuition is very loving, and when you're able to see that and work with your intuition more, you'll be able to strengthen your intuitive abilities, and that will grow and lead
Hmm.
you on your most beneficial path.
Yeah, that's a great first start. Because yeah, for me, excuse me, the ego. Yeah, like as you were explaining that, I was thinking of instances that have just happened recently of like my ego coming up, like you said, with it being insecure or like fears coming up. And I do journal, and I was like kind of just writing out my thoughts.
Yeah.
And it was like by the end of it, usually it's where the intuition comes and it's like not out of fear anymore. I kind of just like feel
Yeah.
more at peace.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
and that's a great practice because you're allowing that chatter that's not yours to just kind of flow through you. It's really important to release what is not yours. And
sorry.
oh, that's okay.
No, go, you can. My
It's
computer
really
keeps turning on.
oh, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
really important to release what is not yours and be intentional about doing so.
Because, like, oh my gosh, excuse me. I notice for me, I have a lot of the ego, like fear-based thoughts. And if I don't get them out of my brain, they just keep coming up
Mhm.
worse. And usually my response to them is worse because I'm not processing it either at all or like enough to get it to where I can handle it like in a
Yeah.
rational way, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Mhm. Yeah, and you start to become reactive to things instead of
yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that word is very accurate. Because yeah, it's like that survivalist type of feeling, like a threat. Even if
Mm,
it's not, your body just thinks it is, I guess. And
yeah, and I think that's also why it's so important to make it a daily practice or to incorporate it into like make it a non-negotiable to practice mindfulness because it's only going to serve you, and the more that you do it, the more that you are rewiring your subconscious, the more that you're reprogramming and creating new neural pathways so that when something else does happen in our lives that we may respond to emotionally, we actually take a second and we act differently, something that actually is for our highest good. And this
Mhm.
doesn't just benefit us, it benefits everyone involved as well because our actions are make a huge ripple effect into the whole collective.
That's so true. Yeah, I'm because I just think about it in my personal life where like me reacting quickly and it turns into like more drama versus me taking a second to breathe or just like not talk.
Yeah.
And then the other people have a chance to actually respond to that because it's a different pattern of events.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it goes different for them too, you know?
Yes. Yes, definitely. We are all collectively co-creating each other's realities too. It's not just us. We again, like our actions really affect other people's timelines. They affect other people's experiences. So it's important that that's why it's so important for this shift that's happening in the collective, this mass awakening, people
Mhm.
like really trying to become the best versions of themselves. It's for the benefit of everyone, it's not a selfish thing at all.
Yeah. And like you were saying earlier with sharing things and it could influence or inspire somebody else to start sharing their gifts or just like you said trying to be a better version of themselves. I think that's common, in the fitness side of things. Like I know for me, like my husband started working out and then I started working out, or like me looking at people online sharing their story helped me get more excited to, continue that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And health is a huge part of it too. I think
Mhm.
that it's taking care of your physical vessel. It's all mind, body, spirit. So all this really does go together. And again, just even if you impact one person or your story resonates with one person, think about how much that could change the trajectory of their lives. Like it gives me chills thinking about that. Even if
Me
you
too.
like
I just
yeah. Yeah, even if you don't know this person like all the way across the world that just happened to look at your story or your reel or listen to your podcast and something resonated with them that changed the course of their day, that changed the course of their week, that ended up impacting their whole month and then their whole life. So it really is something that could be as little as sharing more of yourself.
Mhm. That's wild to think about. Because, like, it's, I can think about that on my end of like things that have influenced my life that maybe the person who shared it like didn't think it would make a difference. But flipping it around to think like potentially something I'm doing could influence somebody else in a profound way, like that's wild to me. I mean, it
Mm.
makes sense. Like, why couldn't that happen? Of course that
Yeah.
could happen, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah, I
just
mean, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, I remember when I was a little girl and I would see something simple as a sign or a painting or something and it would just captivate me. Like whatever you're drawn to can really move that's something that can really move you. It doesn't have to be big, right? It doesn't have to
Mhm,
be in main media or the masses. It could be something as simple as someone even saying something to you on the street, some small talk with someone, a
mhm.
stranger. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that that's a good way to bring up of like, I guess sharing a message to people that, just be kind to others or, try to just spread love wherever you can because you don't know how it could impact someone. I mean, it's going to impact them well because it's nice and
Mhm.
loving, but it could be more profound than just a simple nice gesture too.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. No act of kindness is ever too small. That's one of my favorite
Mhm.
quotes. And it's true. And we don't know everyone's story. We don't know their journeys. And a lot of the times, a lot of people have been through some stuff and or they know someone that's been through some stuff. But yeah, we really don't know what anyone's going through unless we're them. So kindness is very
Yeah,
important. Mhm.
definitely. So I did want to ask, like, how have you strengthened your gifts over the years? I know you said there for a while you kind of had a break in being in tune with them, but what has helped you strengthen them as you've found them again, I guess is how I could describe that.
A break in a break in.
Or like,
Sorry.
because earlier you said you kind of lost touch with your gifts when you were younger. You
Oh,
kind of
oh.
forgot them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so when, Western programming and just being in the Matrix happened, I would say what woke me up to it again was one, I went through a really traumatic experience actually, and it was in my early 20s. I know it was all part of the divine plan, even though it was really hard to accept at the time. But I was put in an unsafe situation. I was in a situationship with a guy that really just was not treating me well. Like I wasn't yeah, I was just definitely accepting less than what I deserved. And I remember this I just remember after these series of events happened, unfortunate events happened. Thankfully, nobody was hurt in any way except me emotionally.
Hmm.
I woke up to this. This is when I really woke up to seeing a bunch of synchronicities in my life. I woke up this one day and I remember just being in this dark place because of everything that had happened. And I woke up and I was just going about my day like a normal day. And I remember looking around. I was just going on a drive to go get groceries or something, maybe even a burrito. I don't know. And then I remember seeing angel numbers everywhere, everywhere. It was almost like I felt like I was in a movie because it almost felt like time stopped and everywhere I looked, it was angel numbers. And I was seeing sequences like 111, 222, 333, 444, whatever, you name it. And I was so used to just seeing 1111 all the time that I was
Hmm.
like, okay, what on earth is going on right now? I feel like I'm going crazy. Like, what's happening? So, but it felt so familiar. It felt so pure, the energy. I can't even describe how beautiful it felt. And I remember going back to my apartment and starting to look online what on earth was happening. I was reading other people's posts, other people's stories, and then I remembered it was almost like I had this flashback to when I was a kid sitting on my parents' bed talking to my angels, and I remember just feeling their presence next to me
Hmm.
and just going about my day like a little girl, doing whatever I was doing, communing with my angels. And I was like, oh my God, how did I forget of this connection? How did I
Hmm.
forget of this so loving, pure energy that only wants my highest good? Um, and that is when I would say it was really the beginning point to everything that's happened in my life now.
Hmm.
Um, really being able to understand life on a deeper level. And from there, I just continued to read, continue to learn and watch videos, whatever resonated with me. And that's when I had full faith in trusting in the divine guidance I was receiving because it was never steering me the wrong way. And one of the biggest things that I mentioned before is meditation. I was guided to meditate every day. I mean, there were times when I was falling asleep and I was like, what is happening right now? I don't want to do this. Um, but it got to a point where I was meditating and I finally hit this point where I felt this high. It felt like I was just completely high and my energy merged with this loving energy that again, it's this beautiful energy that I can't even explain, so loving and pure. And I felt like I was on cloud nine. If cloud nine had some type of feeling, that's how I felt.
Hmm.
And I just remember sitting there and being like, I could just stay here this like forever. It feels so good. And I realized that this is the energy that we come from. And we have access to this at any time of the day, at any given part of the day. Yeah, it's just love. And coming back to that vibration of love is what connects us to it. So the more that I meditated, the more that I read books, I read The Law of Attraction, I read Yeah, I read Law of Attraction books by Abraham Hicks, and continued reading just whatever felt right for me. The Power of Now, The Untethered Soul, Angels in My Hair by Lorna Burns. So many books on angels. I just kept growing more spiritually because I was allowing myself to understand life on a completely new level. I understood energy on a new level, manifestation, raising your vibrational frequency. And by educating myself on this, my soul was just remembering what it already knew. So that's really what helped me come back to my gifts coming back online again
Mhm.
and being able to strengthen them by trusting. And the more that I trusted and the more that I followed my intuition, the stronger my intuitive abilities got. There's definitely times when I'm like, holy crap, okay, a new wave of something is coming my way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice to just hear you explain all that. And something that really touched me, I guess, was when you said you were remembering what your soul knew already.
Hmm.
And that it's like like as people we could I start to see sometimes online like people making reels of like in the spirit world, you're basically like, oh gosh, I don't know the guy's name. He's joking around like he's on the phone deciding if he wants to come to Earth and like live
Oh,
an
I know who you're
experience
talking
on
about.
Earth.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, but just like it's such a trip to think of like our soul is up here. Like we know so much more, but we just have to like connect back to that.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and
Ex-
like it's just like, whoa, how do you I don't know. Like learning how to get to that connection point and
Yeah.
trusting that there's so much more than to just like living in our vessel, like you said, and
Yeah,
just like going through
yeah.
the motions.
Yeah, there's so much more than what
Mhm.
meets the eye, and it's coming back into union with your true self. It really is, and that's just being able to explore and listening to
Mhm.
those intuitive nudges and taking action on them, even if they're wrong sometimes, even if a gut feeling is wrong sometimes, but at least trying is what our spirit team wants us to do.
Mhm.
They're always sending us messages. It's just up to us to be aware of them. And you never know what's on the other side of a gut feeling. I say this all the time. If you don't try, you'll never know. If you don't go to this random park that you randomly had the idea to go to, you'll never know what that could have experience could have been like if you didn't try.
Mhm. Yeah, and sometimes it's like the most unexpected moments lead to like very profound experiences.
Yeah.
Or it's like the most
Yeah.
random like meetups or like you just saw this, you know, it's like you hear it in movies, I guess, you know, it's like the person will go to this random place and like run into this person from like their high school and then they fall in love or
Yeah.
some, you know, whatever, or something.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah. I know,
it's
yeah.
crazy.
It is funny. It's always when we least expect it, but I think
Hmm.
that's because the universe loves surprising us. I think things are always more, yeah. The universe wants to deliver us miracles at all times. So when we're in that state of just flow, that's when the miracles come in because you just don't expect it. And you're like,
Hmm.
what? $100 on the ground? Oh my God. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll take it. So little things like that. It's really magical as you continue to navigate this spiritual journey, how much you see, how much you experience, and what you're able to experience. Like the extent of that is so high. Like
Yeah.
there's the sky is the limit, really, with what you're able to experience here. And it's exciting.
That is exciting. It brings a lot of hope, I guess, for people who maybe feel like the disconnect, not feeling fulfilled or just like knowing they want more,
Yeah,
but don't
yeah,
know what or how or you know,
yeah, yeah.
just. yeah, the
Yeah.
longing of like something, but not knowing how to get it or even they want.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think that a lot of star seeds, a lot of light workers, children that are gifted and stuff, or just everybody in general really feel this at such a young age. They just know that there's something more. And this really starts to hit them, especially when you get older, or even for people that graduate college and stuff, and they're kind of like, okay, where do I want my life to go? Now it's beginning even earlier. I mean, I know some people in high school that are having their spiritual awakenings and are just deciding to break out of the matrix and forging their own path forward, listening to whatever their soul wants, and that is a really beautiful thing. But it also really depends on what you signed up for, to what you signed up to learn, because we still have certain experiences that we agreed to have coming into this
Mhm.
lifetime. And I really thought that the corporate realm may have been the life for me at one point in my life. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be successful. And I got to that point and it really just was sucking the life out of me. But it doesn't have to get to that point
Mhm.
for others to make a shift. And I would hope that people can really try to follow their hearts, even if you don't know what exactly that is for you. If
Mhm.
you just start to explore, start to dip your toes in whatever you think might be interesting to you, the universe will continue to guide you, because the universe loves when you take a leap of faith. It
Mhm.
loves bravery, and it really rewards bravery.
Yeah. That's I I think it's pretty common, or I don't know if it's just because the internet and it seems more common because people share a lot now of just hitting that point, like you said, of it doesn't have to get to the point of burnout in a situation, but I think it's super common for people to get to a point of like complete, like rock bottom or like so burnt out in their circumstances that they have a huge awakening because it's like they had to experience the abrupt like hardship, I guess. Is that a way to
Mhm.
describe
Mhm.
that? Of like, okay,
Yeah.
this is clearly not working anymore.
Yeah.
I need
Yeah.
something different.
I mean, I experienced that, that's for sure, with my whole self-love journey before my spiritual awakening. That catapulted me into my self-love journey because I wasn't treating myself with respect by dating people, by being with people that were treating me less than what I deserve. And with the corporate job, I knew that that wasn't aligned with who I am. But I still waited because I was in fear. I definitely was letting fear dominate more of my experience than my intuition. And I was like, well, I will quit this job, and trying to put a timeline on it. But when you try to control too much is when that pressure cooker gets even hotter, and
Mhm.
the universe will shake things up for you if you're really not where you're supposed to be. And why that's why a lot of my health also declined at the times, because I wasn't listening to my intuition,
Mhm.
and my physical vessel was taking the toll. And it was like, pay attention to me,
Mhm.
please. Pay attention to your life. Like, this life is sacred. Please, like, live your life how your soul wants to.
Yeah. Wow. And that's so true. Like, I think people getting physically ill or autoimmune conditions coming up or, cancer or just like anything really, that a change in the physical body is oftentimes connected to energetic imbalance.
Yeah, yeah,
And just, and it
yeah.
doesn't help that like I could go on about how Western medicine doesn't make that connection like collectively, and that causes a lot of further issues in my opinion. But yeah, I think that's really, yeah, common. I think people should maybe take a mental note of that. if they physically start feeling shifts, maybe there's something deeper to look on, you know?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I was just talking to a friend about this, but I feel like autoimmune disorders or diseases are now just a it's shedding light on a spiritual healing or emotional healing that needs to happen. And they're just what that's what I feel like autoimmune disorders are really are really about now. Obviously, you can go deeper than that, but
Mhm.
I feel like this is a blanket term for, oh, let's look at the mind, body, spirit as a whole. And that's not what Western medicine does.
No, it's it's unfortunate that that's
Mhm,
the case because
mhm.
a lot more people could get healed if they were even exposed to a little bit of that, um, that viewpoint of like mind body connection. Like it's actually connected. It's not like
Yeah, yeah,
just in the same. It matters more than it's made out to be. I think in
yeah,
Western medicine,
yeah.
and it's
If we're
pretty sad.
looking, yeah, if we're looking at health, we can't leave out the spirit because without the spirit, we wouldn't be here. So
Mhm.
it's really important to understand that as well. And sometimes people take different paths to coming to that understanding. But again, I'm not saying that Western medicine is bad or anything like that. I think that there's just different approaches that people can take. And the more that you open yourself up to different modalities of healing
Yeah.
and ways of being as well, the more that you can understand yourself better and see what needs to be healed from there because everybody's on their own healing journey. Um, Otherwise, we would all be enlightened.
Mhm. Yeah, it wouldn't be so like difficult or there wouldn't be as much collective disconnect if it was like made obvious or made easy, I guess.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm, mhm. And it's exciting to see that there is this huge momentum going with people awakening to holistic health and different ways of living and trusting in their soul mission, discovering what that is for them. It
Mhm.
makes me so happy to see people following their intuition and just doing what feels good for them.
Yeah. It is
Yeah.
it's expansive. It
Yes, yeah,
feels and just the feeling of like energetically you can just feel like the support coming through. I mean, I'm doing this like the computer or, if the people are physically around you, you can just feel the shift in energy that it's like everyone's
yeah,
trying to grow together.
yeah. Yeah, and I mean, even if it's through a computer, I can
Mhm.
definitely feel your energy from here and it is expansive and I
Thank
love
you.
that. Yeah, yeah, it's beautiful because when you are doing whatever makes you feel that way, your aura, your energetic field is vibrating way bigger out. Like your energy is emanating from you. And this affects your everybody. It
Mhm.
affects people that you can't even see because we're all energetically connected. So imagine if everybody was emanating at this at this level of vibrational frequency that's just it's magical.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it is because I'm just thinking of um moments in my life. I'm thinking of like past concerts, like from when I was in high school and things like the energy of the crowd and everybody's like so into it. And yeah, it's just like a high. It's like you can't explain what is happening. Like the energy of it all, but you just can feel the
Yeah.
excitement and
Yeah. Yeah.
everybody like coming together for that experience.
Mhm. And that's also what happens when everyone is zoned in on the present moment is complete awareness of their full self, of their full being, of whatever is going on. Everybody is in the present moment, and that's
Mhm.
powerful in itself.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, oh, the synchronicity of this. Because my husband and I just had a talk last night about not feeling present in our
Uh-huh.
in our home life and just in general. We were at a show. He played like like a rock show, like he was
Oh,
performing the
awesome.
show, but
Yeah.
just noticing the shift in like, comparing like how I was saying about concerts like years ago versus now, it's not the same. Like the energy is not the same, the crowd interaction's not the same. People are just recording events like on their phone or just on their phone, like not even in the moment at all.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so we were just talking about that and just like how we want to kind of disconnect from technology in a way to just have more boundaries and be present because we miss that feeling of feeling
Yeah.
present with
Yeah.
anyone. And
Mm-hmm.
it seems harder, at least where we live. I don't I don't know if it's like everywhere or just our surrounding area of like a lot of people just aren't present in that way. And
Yeah.
it's like such
Yeah.
a bummer.
Yeah, and I'm also guilty of pulling my phone out at events as well.
Hmm.
And I think that there's a different way of how people feel connected at this time, and it's really asking
Hmm.
yourself, okay, do I need to do this right now? Or can I just give myself 1 minute to capture this memory, this moment, and then put my phone away so that I can really
Yeah.
embrace everything that's going on? And I definitely have trained myself to do more of that. Sometimes it's so exciting, especially if you work in on the social media realm and
Hmm.
a lot of this space, you want to be able to share this with the people that are connected to you in that way. But a lot of the human experience is actually not supposed to be online. It's
Yeah.
actually supposed to be in person, physically and energetically connected to others. Because we aren't meant to be spending our whole entire lives in front of a screen or just staring
Hmm.
at our phones.
That's so true. And yeah, like you said, that, it's not that capturing moments is a bad thing, because it's not. I mean, it's fine, but like you said, the boundary of like, can I capture this and then separate that and like experience what is going on around me
Yeah.
to the fullest of my ability and
Yeah.
give my full attention to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's also why just doing something that really allows for you to use different senses, like whether it be music or
Mhm.
dancing, it really allows you to come back into the present moment. So, yeah, it's a good way of just exploring using all of your senses.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
like finding things to get you, it's like entranced, but like in a mindful way, not like a
Yeah.
mindless, like
Yeah, yeah,
zoning
yeah.
out way. Yeah.
Yeah, where you kind of just lose track of time and
Hmm.
then before you know it, you're like, "Wow, I had so much fun."
Hmm. Yeah, that's great. Um, I do have a question about so in your bio you talked about karmic cords.
Mhm.
What does that mean? And like how do you
Mm.
know if you have one that needs to be cut or like like how do you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, so a karmic cord, so we came into this earthly experience with certain agreements that we made with other souls prior to reincarnating in this lifetime that are meant to either teach us something or just meant to be in our lives for a specific amount of time. And it doesn't have to always be this huge upheaval or anything. Sometimes people are just meant to be in our lives for a specific time and then you move on and you have to let go in order to have new energetic cords form with people that are aligned with your vibrational state as you continue to grow. So karmic cords are just attachments, energetic cords that are created when you have a relationship with someone or a friendship with someone or a situationship with someone, and it connects you in the way of um shared experiences together. So even old friendships that you feel like died out, those can be
Mhm.
karmic cords, energetic cords in general, but they really are the most intense of them is when it's with people that you did make a soul contract with to teach you a specific lesson. So it could be with a relationship. Let's say that you have an ex-boyfriend or an ex-girlfriend that, or ex-partner that
Mhm.
um, you had this relationship with. They really taught you that maybe you don't love yourself, or maybe you need to, maybe it's best for you to explore other things, anything, whatever they teach you, your biggest heartbreak, anything like that. There's a karmic cord involved in there. And if we keep holding on to this karmic cord, it's going to not feel good. That's when you know that a karmic cord needs to be cut, is if you're actually spending time with someone that just doesn't feel good to be spending time around anymore, and they start to actually create this dark cloud like around you,
Mhm.
because that karmic, that energetic connection, that cycle is meant to be over now. But if you're still feeding into it by giving it energy, that karmic cord is just going to get stronger and it's not going to feel good. And you're going to know because of a feeling. This is also why it's so important to really trust how your energy feels around certain people, especially people that you have a past with. And in order to cut this, it's one, you need to become aware of it. Ask yourself, is this relationship, is this friendship actually serving me? Or am I just holding on because I feel like I don't have anybody else, or I feel like I can't form new connections? Because if you're still holding on, you're not making space for what is really meant for you to come your way. So once you're aware of that, you can work to create boundaries in your life if this person or whatever is trying to continue to be part of your life, and create your boundaries, honor your boundaries, and then um also work energetically in how you can even envision this chord with this person as you're meditating. This is something that I coach my clients on as well and have healing sessions on, is you have the power to actually cut this cord energetically, in a meditative state, and you don't have to have them say anything, because their soul on the soul level also wants to cut that cord, because if it's not serving you, it's also not serving them. It's not serving the both of
Mhm.
you. And in order for, as you're cutting that cord and bringing awareness to this, bringing this to light, their soul is going to, you're freeing their soul and you're freeing yours as well. So if a new energetic cord is meant to form in the future for the highest good of both of you, then it will on a completely new vibrational level, new slate, instead of
Mhm.
adding on to a karmic cord that has already served its purpose. So yeah, that would be the gist of karmic cords and how to release them, and when you know that you should. Yeah, you'll really feel it.
Yeah, that's very enlightening for me right now in my life. So, yeah,
Good.
synchronicities again. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
yeah, the universe knows what she's doing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
All right. I do want to be mindful of your time because it's been
Mhm.
about an hour almost.
Mhm.
So you had, I guess I have two questions. Okay, yeah, this one for sure. What was one of the most profound messages you've received?
Oh, oh gosh, I've received so many beautiful messages. That is a really good question. I would say that the most profound message that I received is I think, because this one is really recent actually, is when I was going through my health journey and I was in the depths of it, receiving the message that I would get through this, that there is a light on the other side, and my soul is meant to to live out all of like my dreams, everything, and also be a light bearer in this earth, in this time, and be able to bring light to other people
Hmm.
in my lifetime. It was I mean, that's the main message there, but receiving that message a lot during my health journey was very profound for me because it came at the perfect times. It came when I most needed it, and it helped me hold on to faith. And just honestly, if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for these messages from my angels, I don't know if I don't know if I would have gotten through that health journey.
Mhm.
Um, it really allowed me to trust in a higher power of my own understanding, trust that there's more to life than my physical vessel, and that miracles do happen, that miracles were on their way to me, and they always are. That was the most profound thing of understanding the energetics of miracles and how how quickly they can unravel in your life if you trust and
Yeah.
continue to surrender. I also remember receiving specific messages from my angels through the form of animals and birds. And when I was in the hospital for a good amount of time, there were certain birds that would fly to my window and just literally like talk to me and just make sure and comfort me and let me know that I was okay. I know that sounds wild to even think, oh, like they're just animals flying to your window, but it's a completely different, it was a completely different experience for me, and it was very magical. So, yeah, I would say the main message, the really, I know it doesn't sound like this crazy message or anything, but just knowing that there's a light at the end of the tunnel was really profound for me during my healing journey.
Yeah. Yeah, because in those dark times of struggling, when you've wrapped your head around an issue as much as you can, in your consciousness, like sometimes you just need that higher power or something to be like, I'm looking past this, like past
Yeah.
what you can see, and it'll
Yes.
it'll
Yeah.
be okay.
Exactly. Exactly. Our angels can see way more than what we can see right here and right now. They know how things are going to play out, and they just want to continue to guide you on the best path forward because they're
Mhm.
always working in the background for our highest good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man, yeah. And then I guess my last question, before you can share, your website and just anything else you
Oh.
want to share. We touched a little bit on getting in touch with your intuition. Um, but I guess outside of meditation and mindfulness in general, how could someone who wants to become more spiritual or get in touch with spiritual gifts, how can they explore that or like learn to get in touch with those?
Aside from meditation and journaling, I would say I would say to start talking to people that intrigue you, to where their stories resonate with you. Just start talking. Conversations and connections is a huge thing. And as you allow yourself to just talk about subjects that maybe you're interested in or that
Mhm.
really light up your soul, that you're intrigued by, like that's when your soul is expanding, and allowing yourself to kind of embrace these different views, different viewpoints, and see what sticks with you. And as you continue to follow your interest, you'll want to educate yourself on whatever it is that lights you up inside, that gets you excited. You're like, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, I want to learn more. This is, I would say this is going to strengthen you not just spiritually, but intuitively as well, because you are allowing yourself to follow those breadcrumbs that are exciting you. So that's one of the biggest things is to connect with others or even talk to others that that may interest you, that your energy resonates with, and read, explore topics, watch videos, um, and just dive into it. Go into a rabbit hole on Reddit or something, or
Mhm.
whatever you
Yeah,
want to do. Just start doing anything. Yeah.
yeah. And that's that's I guess I just made this connection as you were talking, like higher consciousness, it's like expanding your mind on a spiritual level, but like just learning, I mean, it's the same thing. you're
Yeah,
still
yeah,
expanding your mind. It might not be like you're not
yeah,
like tripping and like in
yeah,
this big like
yeah,
spiritual thing, but yeah, just expanding your mind in any way,
yeah,
even if
yeah,
it's just like learning how to cook something new or,
exactly.
whatever. It could be
Exactly.
something really simple.
Yeah, and that's what our soul wants. It doesn't want to just stay stagnant. It wants to continue evolving, continue growing, accruing these skills, whatever lights you up inside, and just little baby steps is really all that it takes.
Mhm. Yeah. That's a very nice way to end this, I think, is just try something new, People give yourself a chance to even think about what do you want to do? Like what do you want to try? And then
Yeah.
actually go for it. Like
Yeah,
get some
yeah.
expansive energy.
Yes, definitely. Life is your own canvas. It's up to you to paint that canvas. So don't just leave it on like don't don't leave it blank, please.
Yeah. Yeah, because everyone deserves to feel, fulfilled and vibrant and happy and in alignment with, what their soul actually wants.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. Yeah. And I also think that one of the biggest questions to ask yourself is what do you want to experience? How do you want to feel? And allow your soul to guide you to those
Mhm.
experiences and those feelings.
Yeah. And that's a great way too, I think, to embodying the feeling, because you might not know what is going to give you that feeling, but if you know, okay, I want to feel this way, then as you do things or as you're with people, you can, decipher, am I feeling this way or not?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Definitely.
Thank you so much, Lizzie. I want to give you a chance to, share your website or your socials, and your podcast too
Oh,
for the
yeah, it
listeners.
was a pleasure. Honestly, I loved having this
Me
conversation with
too.
you. So socials, if you are, yeah, if you're interested in connecting with me, I have an Instagram. It's at Illuminate with Lizzie, Illuminate, and with Lizzie. I also have a podcast, which I am very active on as well. It's called Illuminate with Lizzie. And oh, I have a YouTube also. I'm on all the social medias. TikTok is at Lizzie Keu, Lizziekeu. And if you are interested in connecting, I would be happy to connect.
Great. Thank you so much. I really
Yeah.
loved our chat. And it brought up a lot for me to reflect on in my own life. So I think that was just another synchronicity thing that I
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
expecting. But
good. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I know.
yeah, I had
Energies
a great.
always align. The messages come into our lives at the right time.
Definitely. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. It was great talking with you. Talk to you hopefully soon again.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you
Thank
for having
you.
me.